So we've got some pretty cool stuff to dig into today. You know those materials you sent over about Eastern Mexico?
Yeah.
I gotta say, they've got me thinking maybe this is a place I need to check out.
Really?
Yeah, especially that blog post from the Mexican tourist office. Makes it sound pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely got that glossy brochure feel.
It does, but we've also got that personal blog from, well, someone who's actually been there. It gives a bit more of a boots-on-the-ground view.
Right, a bit more real-life perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I thought we could do today is really, dive into these, both of them, see what Eastern Mexico really offers.
Sounds good.
Especially for, well, people like us. Maybe not spring chickens anymore.
The over 50 crowd?
Yeah, exactly. We're not looking for the same things we did in our 20s, right?
Not necessarily. Priorities shift.
They do. So let's see if Eastern Mexico has what we're looking for. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, so first things first. What is it about Eastern Mexico that makes it so appealing, especially to, well, more experienced travelers?
Right. Well, both these sources seem to agree that people in this age group were kind of looking for a different kind of travel experience.
Yeah, different than those all-night parties in Cancun.
Exactly. I mean, adventure is still a factor, but it's more about a balance.
Okay, so what kind of balance are we talking about?
Well, the tourist office talks about adventure for sure, but also relaxation.
Yeah, being able to actually unwind on vacation. Novel idea.
Right. And then there's the cultural aspect. They really play up the rich history and the welcoming atmosphere.
Okay, so soaking up the culture at a more relaxed pace.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the personal blog kind of echoes that sentiment.
Okay, so both agree on that. What about the elephant in the room?
You mean safety?
Yeah, that's often a concern people have about Mexico in general.
Right. And the personal blog doesn't shy away from it. They mention the drug cartels, but they're also pretty practical about it.
How?
Well, they basically say, look, be aware, check the travel advisories, but don't let fear stop you from experiencing what Mexico has to offer.
Okay, so a balanced perspective, acknowledging the realities, but not letting them dominate the conversation.
Exactly. It's about being informed and taking reasonable precautions.
All right, so that's a good starting point. But then the tourist office throws out this phrase, a paradise for the over 50 traveler.
Yeah, that caught my eye too. A bit bold, maybe.
It is. So what makes them think Eastern Mexico is a paradise, especially for our demographic?
Well, a lot of it seems to be about the beaches. And not just any beaches. They specifically highlight places like Tulum.
Tulum, I've heard good things.
And for good reason. What's special about Tulum is that it's not just about the beach itself. You've got these ancient Mayan ruins right there on the coast.
Oh, wow. So you can literally step off the beach and into history.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
For someone who enjoys both history and relaxation, that's a pretty winning combination.
It is. And the tourist office really plays up that balance. The history, the relaxed vibe, those beachfront restaurants. Sounds idyllic.
Yeah, it does paint a pretty picture. And the personal blog backs them up on that, at least when it comes to the Riviera Maya in general.
The Riviera Maya, that's the whole stretch from Cancun down to Tulum, right?
Exactly. That whole coastline is known for its beaches and resorts. And the personal blog actually recommends going all-inclusive.
That's good advice, especially for those of us who are maybe a little more budget conscious.
Right, or just don't want to deal with the hassle of planning every meal and activity.
And having airport transfers included definitely takes some of the stress out of travel.
For sure. Plus, who doesn't love the idea of white sand and turquoise waters? It's pretty universally appealing.
It is. And the personal blog mentions this really sweet story about releasing baby turtles into the sea at sunset in LeBlanc.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely touch.
Yeah, this kinds of experiences, those little moments, those are what make a trip truly memorable.
Absolutely. It's not just about the place, it's about the experiences you have there.
Okay, so we've got beautiful beaches, a more relaxed pace. What about the cultural side of things?
Right, well, both sources are pretty enthusiastic about the rich cultural heritage of Eastern Mexico.
And they've got some pretty impressive sites to back that up.
For sure. The tourist office starts off strong, mentioning Chichen Itza, Mérida, and Palenque.
Chichen Itza, that's one of the new seven wonders of the world, right?
It is. It's a pretty big deal. And then you've got Mérida with its mix of Mayan and Spanish history.
Oh, wow. So it's got that colonial architecture, too.
Exactly. And they mentioned the traditional dances in the Central Plaza every evening.
Sounds charming. And Palenque, that's the one with the Mayan ruins in the jungle, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Talk about an Indiana Jones vibe.
I was just thinking that. But the personal blog actually goes into more detail about these sites, doesn't it?
Yeah, they really flesh things out. For example, with Chichen Itza, they don't just say go see it. They call it a must-see and a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
So right away, you know it's something special.
Exactly. And they list specific structures like El Castillo, the Temple of Warriors, the Grand Ball Court.
Wow, so you get a real sense of what you'll actually see there.
Right. They even mention the Venus platform and El Caracol Observatory.
Okay, now it's not just old stones. It's like a window into their astronomy and their whole worldview.
Exactly.
Mm.
And it's good to know that Mérida, even though it's the largest city in the Yucatan, is still doable as a day trip from Playa del Carmen.
Oh, that's really helpful for planning. So you could stay on the coast and still experience the city.
Exactly. Plus, the blog reminds us that Tulum itself has ruins.
Oh, yeah, right on the coast.
It used to be a port city.
Fascinating. So you've got history layered right there on top of the natural beauty.
And the personal blog mentions some other Mayan sites in the Yucatan, places like Coba and Ekbalam.
Okay, so there's a whole network of these ancient cities to explore.
It's pretty incredible. It's like stepping back in time.
Okay, so we've got the beaches, we've got the history. What about the natural wonders?
Right. Well, Eastern Mexico has a lot to offer beyond the beaches and the ancient sites.
That's what I'm really interested in.
I thought you might be.
So what kind of natural wonders are we talking about?
Well, the tourist office mentions the Siancam Biosphere Reserve.
Okay, what's that?
It's a UNESCO site with mangroves, wetlands, and those amazing cenotes.
Cenotes, those are those underground sinkholes, right?
Exactly. They were often considered sacred by the Maya.
Wow. So you can go bird watching, kayaking, explore these ancient sacred sites.
And the personal blog adds that there are over 6,000 cenotes scattered throughout Mexico.
6,000. That's incredible.
It is, and many of them are easily accessible, especially near Tulum.
Okay, so that's definitely going on the list. What else is there?
Well, they also mention some more specific attractions, like Xcaret Park in the Riviera Maya.
What's that like?
It's a theme park, but it's all about the natural environment. You can go snorkeling, swim with dolphins, explore underground rivers, even go on equestrian tours.
Okay, so a little something for everyone.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty full day of activities.
And they also mention MUSA, the underwater museum off the coast of Cancun.
Oh yeah, that's a unique one. They've got sculptures on the seabed.
Sculptures underwater. How do you see them?
You can snorkel, dive, or even take a glass-bottomed boat.
That's amazing. And the sculptures are actually designed to become part of the marine ecosystem.
Right, so it's art and conservation all in one.
Very cool. Anything else?
Oh, and a Camal, just south of Cancun.
What's special about Akumal?
You can swim with sea turtles there,
Oh, wow. That's got to be an incredible experience.
especially if you're a nature lover.
Okay, so we've got beaches, history, nature. It sounded pretty good.
It is. But let's be practical. What about the logistics of actually getting there and, all that stuff?
Right, the practicalities. Well, the personal blog actually provides a lot of useful info on that.
Like what?
Well, first off, the best time to visit is generally December to April.
Okay, so winter into spring.
Yeah, that's when you've got the best beach weather with minimal rain.
Makes sense. And what about hurricane season?
Right, they mentioned that too. Late May or June through November.
Okay, so something to keep in mind when planning.
Definitely. And it's good to know that traveling between the U.S. and Mexico is relatively easy.
And they mention visa exemptions for a lot of nationalities through the electronic authorization system.
The EAS, yeah, that makes things a lot simpler.
For sure. And then there are little things, like the electricity is 110 volts and they use US-style plugs.
Oh, that's always good to know. No need for adapters.
Exactly. And while the Mexican peso is the official currency, US dollars are widely accepted in tourist areas.
Okay, so that's convenient.
And ATMs and credit cards are generally available, so no worries there.
What other practical advice did they have?
Well, they strongly suggest considering all-inclusive resorts, especially in the Riviera Maya.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it can help you manage food costs and just relax and enjoy the amenities.
Right, no need to nickel and dime everything.
Exactly. And they recommend learning a few basic Spanish phrases.
Even though English is pretty widely spoken in the tourist areas.
Yeah, it's just a nice gesture, shows you're making an effort.
Agreed. And they mentioned organized tours as a good option for exploring.
Especially for getting to some of the more remote sites.
Right, safer, more affordable, and you don't have to worry about driving.
Exactly. And then there are the health and safety recommendations.
Like what?
Well, they say don't drink the tap water, stick to bottled or filtered.
Okay, good to know.
And they suggest booking airport transfers in advance.
For safety and cost effectiveness.
Right. And they mentioned the Zika virus, so take mosquito precautions.
Right, can't be too careful.
And even little things, like knowing that Mexican food can be spicy.
Oh yeah, good point.
And they mentioned that indigenous Mexicans may be smaller in stature.
Okay, that's just about being culturally sensitive and aware.
Exactly. It's all about setting realistic expectations.
So beyond the sites and the logistics, what about the people?
Right. The human element. Well, both the tourist office and the personal blog seem to agree on this one,
What's that?
that the Mexican people are incredibly warm and friendly.
Okay, that's always a plus.
The tourist office talks about the slower pace of life, allowing you to really relax and soak it all in.
And the personal blog basically says, look, the locals are very friendly. This is not propaganda. It's genuinely true. Okay, that's pretty reassuring.
And they say that there's not really a language barrier in the tourist areas.
So even if you don't speak Spanish, you'll be able to get by.
Pretty much. Younger generations speak English, and many older people do too.
That definitely makes things easier.
And the tourist office mentions that Merida and Playa del Carmen are popular spots for longer-term stays.
Oh, interesting. So not just vacations, but people actually living there.
Yeah, apparently they're pretty popular with expats.
Why is that?
Well, they mentioned the affordability, the amenities, the established expat communities.
So you can really settle in and become part of the community.
Exactly. It's more than just a quick trip.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good picture of Eastern Mexico, but what about Mexico in general?
Right, putting it all in context. Well, one thing that stands out is that Mexico has a substantial and diverse economy.
Larger than I would have thought.
Yeah, it's actually the 15th largest globally.
Wow.
And it's not just tourism. They've got manufacturing, agriculture.
Okay, so a lot going on.
Yeah, and strong ties to the U.S., especially with the USMCA trade agreement.
Right, that's the new NAFTA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And geographically, Mexico is incredibly diverse.
That's something I always found fascinating.
You've got deserts, rainforests, mountains, coastlines.
And volcanoes, right?
Oh yeah, lots of volcanoes. And the Sierra Madre mountain range runs right through it.
Incredible.
And geologically, it's located on the Pacific Ring of Fire.
Which explains the earthquakes, right?
Exactly. That's where the tectonic plates meet.
And they've got a lot of natural resources, too.
Oh yeah, especially silver. They're one of the world's top producers.
And oil and natural gas, too.
Right. Now, of course, we have to talk about the crime rate.
Yeah, that's something people are often concerned about.
And it's a real issue, especially with the drug cartels. But it's important to remember that it varies by region.
Okay, so it's not dangerous everywhere.
Exactly. The border areas and large cities tend to have higher crime rates,
And tourist areas.
generally safer. And the government is actively working to improve the situation.
Okay, so that's good to know.
And in terms of getting around, Mexico has a well-developed transportation network.
Highways, buses, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and domestic flights. They've got a metro system in the major cities,
And international airports, obviously.
of course. And the climate is incredibly diverse, too.
I mean, that's not surprising considering the geography.
Right, you go from temperate mountains to tropical coasts.
So you can pretty much find whatever weather you're looking for.
Pretty much. The north is more arid, the south is more humid, and the coasts are warm year-round.
And of course, we can't forget the food.
Oh, yeah. Mexican cuisine is world famous for a reason.
It's more than just tacos, right?
Oh, yeah, way more. It's all about the staples, corn, beans, chili peppers.
And they've got those regional variations, too.
Like cochinita pibil in the Yucatan.
And mole sauces in Oaxaca.
Exactly. And of course, tequila and mezcal.
Can't forget those.
And the street food is amazing.
Elote, churros, so much good stuff. Okay, so let's bring it back to our listener, the learner.
Right, the person who's actually thinking about taking this trip.
What are the key takeaways about Eastern Mexico that should really stick with them?
Well, I think what's really compelling is that it offers a unique blend of learning and relaxation.
Okay, I like that.
You've got this incredible ancient Mayan civilization, these unique natural wonders like the cenotes and the biosphere reserves.
And all of that is interwoven with a vibrant, modern Mexican culture.
Exactly. It's not just a beach vacation. It's a chance to really experience something different.
And hopefully we've managed to give them a good overview without overwhelming them with information.
Right. Just the highlights. Enough to spark their interest.
And hopefully some of those aha moments have clicked, like the connection between the ancient Maya and those cenotes.
Or the fact that you can explore a UNESCO World Heritage Site
Yeah.
and then relax on a beautiful beach all in the same day.
Exactly. And we've also addressed some of the practical concerns.
Like safety, logistics, those sorts of things.
Drawing on both the tourist office and the personal blog to give a balanced perspective.
Right. So they can make informed decisions.
And it sounds like with a little planning, it can be a safe and rewarding adventure.
Definitely. And the value proposition is strong, especially with the all-inclusive options.
Right. You get a lot for your money.
Exactly. It's not just about the cost, it's about the value you receive.
So to sum it all up, Eastern Mexico seems like a really compelling option for travelers who are looking for something a little different.
Something that combines history, nature, culture, and relaxation.
And a genuine sense of adventure.
Exactly. So, to our listener, I think the question is, what speaks to you the most?
Yeah, what really grabs your imagination?
Is it the ancient Mayan sites? The turquoise waters? The chance to immerse yourself in a new culture?
Or maybe just the idea of slowing down and savoring a different pace of life.
Whatever it is, Eastern Mexico seems to have something for everyone.
It does. And we've only scratched the surface here.
Definitely. There's so much more to explore.
So we encourage you to do some more research, maybe look into specific places, dig a little deeper into the history.
Maybe even plan that trip.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful.
And we look forward to exploring another fascinating topic with you next time.
Until then, happy travels.